What if I told you that one of the most powerful nations in human history began as a fragile experiment, deeply in debt, politically divided, and unsure if it would even survive? Today, the United States leads the world in technology, higher education, global finance, and innovation. But that wasn't always the case. America wasn't born rich, it wasn't born stable, and it definitely wasn't born united. This is the story of how a group of struggling colonies became a global superpower, a story of war, rebellion, economic collapse, reinvention, innovation, and constant self-correction. And by the end of this video, you'll understand not just how America became what it is today, but why it continues to evolve. Let's go back to the very beginning. Before there was a United States, this land was home to millions of Native Americans, complex civilizations with trade networks, agriculture, and political systems long before Europeans arrived. Then came European powers, Spain, France, and eventually Britain. By the 1700s, Britain controlled 13 colonies along the East Coast. These colonies were growing fast, economically active, full of trade, farming, and new ideas about liberty. But there was a problem. The colonies were being taxed heavily by Britain, especially after the costly French and Indian War. The colonists had no representation in Parliament, and that famous phrase started spreading, "No taxation without representation." Tension turned into protest. Protest turned into revolution. In 1776, the colonies declared independence. The Revolutionary War was long and uncertain. The colonies were outmatched in money, military strength, and resources, but they won. And when the war ended, America faced its first real crisis. The country was broke, completely broke. The new government had massive war debt. The national currency was unstable. The Articles of Confederation were weak and ineffective. States were acting independently. It almost fell apart. Then came the Constitution in 1787, a bold reset. It created a stronger federal government, a balance of powers, and a system designed to adapt. It wasn't perfect. Slavery remained. Women couldn't vote. But it created a framework that allowed growth and correction over time. Financially, the early United States struggled, but leaders like Alexander Hamilton pushed for a national bank, federal credit systems, and industrial growth. Slowly, the foundation was laid. The 1800s were about expansion and conflict. The Louisiana Purchase doubled the country's size. Railroads connected the coasts. Industry began rising in the north. Agriculture dominated the South, but beneath the growth was a deep moral and economic divide. Slavery. The Civil War in the 1860s nearly destroyed the country. Over 600,000 Americans died. The war ended slavery, but left the nation financially and socially scarred. Still, something important happened. America industrialized rapidly. Steel, oil, railroads, banking. Names like Rockefeller and Carnegie emerged. Cities exploded in size. Immigrants arrived in millions. By the late 1800s, America wasn't weak anymore, it was becoming an economic force. The early 20th century brought massive change. America entered World War I. Then came the Roaring '20s, economic boom, stock market growth, cultural revolution, and then collapse, the Great Depression. In 1929, the stock market crashed. Banks failed. Unemployment hit 25%. Families lost everything. The United States was once again financially devastated, but this is a pattern in American history. Crisis, then reinvention. President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, public works programs, banking reform, social safety nets. Government stepped in to stabilize the economy. Then World War II transformed everything. America became the arsenal of democracy, producing weapons, vehicles, and supplies on a massive scale. By 1945, the US economy was stronger than ever. Europe was devastated. America emerged as the world's leading economic and military power. After World War II, America didn't just rebuild, it dominated. The dollar became the world's reserve currency. Institutions like the IMF and World Bank were formed. The US invested heavily in education, infrastructure, and science. The Cold War began, a global competition with the Soviet Union. The space race put a man on the moon. The GI Bill expanded higher education dramatically. Middle-class growth exploded. Suburbs expanded. Universities became global leaders. Economically, the US GDP soared. Corporate giants expanded worldwide. Technology advanced rapidly, but again, not perfect. The civil rights movement exposed deep racial injustice. Vietnam divided the nation. The 1970s brought inflation and economic stagnation. Yet again, reform followed crisis. By the 1980s and 90s, deregulation, tech growth, and globalization reshaped the economy. Then came the digital revolution. The internet changed everything. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google reshaped the global economy. Silicon Valley became a symbol of innovation. America shifted from heavy industry to technology, finance, healthcare, and education leadership. Today, the US is the world's largest economy. It leads in higher education, research, venture capital, and tech innovation. The dollar remains central to global trade, but challenges remain. 2008 brought another financial crisis. 2020 brought a global pandemic. Political polarization has intensified, yet each time, the system adjusts. Stimulus packages, tech acceleration, remote work revolution, renewable energy investments. America continues refining itself economically, socially, and educationally. Let's compare. At birth, a massive war debt, a weak currency, a fragile government. After the Civil War, a reconstruction debt, a regional economic imbalance. During the Great Depression, a 25% unemployment, a bank failures, a economic collapse. Today, a largest GDP in the world, a global financial influence, a strong capital markets. Innovation-driven economy. IT wasn't a straight line, it was cycles of collapse and comeback. Education and economic evolution. Early America had limited higher education, mostly elite institutions. After World War II, education became accessible to millions. Public universities expanded. Research funding grew. Innovation ecosystems formed. Today, American universities dominate global rankings. Research output, patents, startups. The education system feeds the economy. That connection between education and innovation is one of America's strongest advantages. So what is America? It's not just wealth, it's not just military power, it's not just technology, it's an unfinished experiment, a country born in debt, tested by civil war, crushed by depression, challenged by inequality, and reshaped again and again by crisis. America's strength isn't that it never fails, it's that it rebuilds over and over. From 13 colonies on the edge of survival, to a nation influencing global finance, science, culture, and education. The story of America isn't just about power, it's about resilience, and the story is still being written. What chapter comes next? That is up to the people living it.